Welcome to a special episode of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing true paranormal stories from the web as part 3 of this Halloween special for 2024. Thank you all for listening, and happy to have you all here. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, and over on the podcast page. That is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear replays of 2 episodes of my show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, for having me on the network and putting my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, there's different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written over on Amazon, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, including my most recent release, Salsido Paranormal Experiences. You can sign up for the Patreon page and get 1 extra episode of true paranormal stories from the web. So basically these shows here, similar shows, and get one of those every week whenever possible. You can also just send one-time donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. I think that takes care of everything, so let's get back to the stories here. And again, this is a special series of shows here featuring all of these true paranormal stories from the web, because it is one of my favorite kinds of shows to do, and thought that'd be great for Halloween this year. So I think I might start doing this every year because I think it works. And let's get to back to my document here that has all the stories on it. All right, so this one says, my best friend recently stayed overnight as we had been drinking. I have a 2-story home. My friend slept on the couch on the main level, while I slept in my bedroom on the 2nd floor. The next morning, I got up to use the bathroom on the 2nd floor. While walking to the bathroom, I saw my friend standing at the bottom of the staircase, heading to the 2nd floor. After taking a few steps back to check if she needed anything, I realized my friend was no longer there. Later that morning, I jokingly mentioned seeing my friend at the bottom of the stairs. She then said that she had also seen me standing in the same position, but from the back, as if facing up the stairs. When she double-checked if I was there, she no longer saw me. Both of us saw each other in the same clothes from the night before, in the same position, one seeing the front, the other seeing the back. I don't know how to explain this experience. What did we see? Has anyone else had a similar experience? And that's where that one ends. I have never heard of that. I've heard of course, the idea of mimics or of course, doppelgangers, that kind of thing. But this sounds like whoever or whatever this was, this image there was this image of the owner of the house facing basically not facing, the back half, I guess it would be, of the owner of the house that was seen by the friend. And the front half of the friend seen by the owner of the house. And I'm guessing at the same time. And it was there and then it was gone. I have no idea what this was, except maybe some kind of some being that was there for whatever reason that somehow projected these images to these two people. Excuse me. That's all I can think of because I have no idea what that would be. Other than that, somehow, because I don't know. That doesn't make any sense for it to be either of them. Even if you want to look at it, any kind of like weird time distortion, or again doppelganger. I mean, I guess if it has amazing abilities, some kind of other being that can mimic two people at the same time, front and back halves of them. That's the only thing I can really think of with that. I have no idea though. And the thing with this is, this is a first. I've never heard of this before. So who knows? And this just always, to me, these kind of one-off stories, or these first-time stories or accounts of experiences, always make me wonder just how much power, much skill is involved in making these experiences, or if there isn't any, and it's somehow more, I don't know, connected to the people that are having the experience, or if it's both. I have no idea, but I thought that was a wild experience that those two people had there. At the same time, without knowing it, that it was at the same time, and until after the fact. And yeah, I have no idea how to really classify that one, other than, yeah, I don't really know. That one still has me. When I first read it, I had no idea, and I still have no idea. So, moving on to the next one here. Let's see. Okay, this one says, I don't believe in ghosts or the paranormal. Sorry, I always cracks me up a little bit when I read that, when it comes to these experiences. But today, I experienced something unexplainable, along with two witnesses. One was a close friend and a cashier. This happened at a clothing store in Cincinnati while my friend and I were browsing. As we were about to leave the store, a shoe from a display stand in the middle of the store suddenly flew over the shoe next to it and landed at my feet. I laughed and picked up the shoe while my friend asked, "How the heck did that happen?" And the cashier commented that they also saw the shoe jump, in quotation marks. I put the shoe back and joked about it being caused by Henry the Ghost before leaving the store. Later, while sitting at a coffee shop, my friend and I were talking about how strange and unexplainable this event was. I couldn't stop thinking about it and considered returning to the store to check for security camera footage of the event. The more I thought about it, the more I ruled out any logical explanation. There was no fishing wire or prank mechanism involved. The stand was flat and stable. No drafts, airflow, or pressure changes could have caused the shoe to move. The stand didn't appear to have any hidden mechanism that could have launched the shoe. I am still baffled, as I can find no rational explanation for what happened that day, and that's where that one ends. Here you have another unusual location for something weird to happen. The clothing store. And I don't know. I'd be curious about the history of that building. I also wonder, though, I never really used to think about people as having or giving off energy that could cause things to happen without knowing it until really looking into so many accounts of people's experiences. And I still sometimes I wonder about that because it just, I don't know. I guess to me, it doesn't make a ton of sense because then why doesn't it happen a lot more? But then again, maybe it does, and we just don't always notice it. But yeah, I'd be curious about the history of that store, and/or I wonder about the the current at the time, the current I guess the environment, the work environment. If people were sort of happy there, or if they weren't, if there was, I don't know. Seems like there's a lot of factors that could play into that. Um, and of course, the easiest thing to say would be that someone wanted to get someone else's attention and picked up the shoe and tossed it a little ways. I don't think that's impossible either. So, but yeah, I thought that was a wild one with that that happening, and it sounds like in a place where nothing else that happened to them at the time, and so I have no idea what to make of that. But yeah, that's a wild one there, especially when it happens in an unexpected environment and situation there where nothing else is going on, as far as I can tell. Let's move on to the next story here. And this one says, let me scroll down a little bit so I can get the whole thing in frame. There we go. This one says, my partner's father passed away years ago, before we had children. My partner regularly showed our toddler daughter photos of her late father, calling him Pops. This became a daily routine, and our daughter learned to recognize and point to photos, saying his name. We later went on vacation to Portugal, a place with special memories for my partner and her father. One evening, while walking back after a meal, I was carrying our toddler. I was carrying our toddler daughter. They say that a couple of times there. She pointed at an empty wall on the promenade and said, "Look, Daddy, there's Pops." She continued staring at the wall, leaving me wondering if she actually saw him. And that's where that one ends. I wonder about that. Yeah, it seems like, of course, we've all heard. Many people have heard about how kids seem to be more sensitive. I wonder if maybe he was there with them somehow. It's not like it was a picture or like someone that maybe looked like the child's grandfather that was there, as far as I could tell. If she was pointing at a wall or a doorway or whatever, and there was no one there that they could see, then that would seem to rule that out. Of course, there's plenty of accounts where people will have, when their kids are around, they'll talk about seeing this person and not even knowing this person at all beforehand. Where similar situation where it's a loved one, like a grandfather or whatever, grandparent that passed on, and then the parent of the child will show them a picture of whoever that sounds like, and the child will say, "Yes, that's them. That's the one I see." So here you have a slightly different variation on that in a way. You have sort of the opposite. The child knows what their grandfather looks like because they were shown pictures. But then when they're in a location that is not, they don't go to all the time, I'm guessing, they see what they say is their grandfather in a place where no one else sees anyone there. So, but either way, I think it still could come down to the sensitivity of children. They haven't been taught yet, possibly, that ghosts should not or do not exist, or the paranormal or anything unexplained does not really exist. So that's a neat one there. Let me see here. So let's move on to the next true story here. It's funny how these shows work. The first couple I recorded tonight, we only made it through 4 stories, and looks like this one we're going to make it through 6. So, and that was not planned. Anyway, let's see here. Okay. This one says, I have always been a skeptic. I only believe in what I can see. Still, I do enjoy talking about ghosts with others. I have a 3-year-old daughter. We recently moved into a house with some friends. My friends claimed the house was haunted, but I hadn't experienced anything unusual at first. A few nights ago, while on the phone with my boyfriend, I saw a shadow staring at me from the stairwell. When I looked at it, the shadow quickly disappeared. I dismissed it, thinking it was just my imagination. Tonight, while going to the basement with a friend to retrieve something, my friend reached the bottom of the stairs and told me to go back upstairs. I asked why, and my friend just insisted I go back upstairs as they gave me the item I needed. A moment later, they came up the stairs as well. I asked what happened, and my friend reluctantly explained that they saw my daughter in the basement. However, the figure had red hair, while my daughter has very dark brown hair. This unnerved me. I went upstairs and prayed with my daughter, something I had never done before, as I am not religious. What does all this mean? Was it a bad sign? I have lived in the house for 2 weeks without previously feeling unsettled. And that's where that one ends. I kind of wanted to share this one because I see where they're going in their mind with it. The fright is possibly making them think that whatever they're experiencing is negative. And not to say that that doesn't happen, that there aren't negative experiences. But at the same time, it's not when you're dealing with something that you don't know. It doesn't have to be negative or evil for it to frighten you. Obviously, I don't know what that was or who that was, but yeah. And Matt's all in the chat there says showing you the power of prayer. And I mean, there's plenty of accounts of that, however that works, of that working in whatever faith you belong to. There's plenty of accounts of people of all sort of walks of life or whatever religion they follow, of doing that, of basically focusing with intent on what's important to them, and it making things better. And so I don't know. It doesn't say that the activity stopped after that or that it went on. So I don't know for sure how that all worked out. But yeah, I just wonder about that. If it was really, if what was going on there, basically, who was there? Did it mean to frighten anyone? Did it not? Did they not? And then did that lead to sort of unintended consequences? And And so, yeah, I don't know with that one. It's really hard with some of these because I can see it both ways. I can see it as maybe being something negative, but also I can just see it being someone that is trying to get the attention of the people that are there, possibly for um, reasons that are not meant to be malicious. But then because the people are not familiar, obviously, with experiences with seeing things like this, they become frightened, and so in that fright and that fear, it leads them to think that whatever they experienced is meant to be negative, meant to be harmful, when I don't think that's always the case. So I really wanted to share that one, just to sort of go over those, I guess, those possibilities there of what it could be, and just to, as always, I try to do in these shows, point out that yeah, it's not like what you see in Hollywood. It's not like what you see in movies and TV shows all the time. I think the way that those shows portray all these unexplained things, I think those kind of extreme cases are a lot more rare compared to the amount of other experiences that people have in general. Um, so just based on everything I've read and heard, that seems to be the case. So, but of course, I have no idea. I don't claim to know what's going on here at all either. So it's just a feeling based on what I've read and heard and what I've experienced. I think we have time for one more here, and then that'll be it for this episode. Hopefully, it's a quick one. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like a quick one. So we're gonna just leave that there. Yeah. So that'll be it for this episode as far as stories go. Please, as always, check out all the links in the episode descriptions, especially where I have those shows where I have guests. Sometimes they'll have their own projects they're working on, and I'll include those links whenever possible in every episode description. Also, just a reminder, please check out the network, the radio, the online radio station, the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, digital broadcasting, for amazing shows, amazing content, all day, 24/7, and including my show, but many others as well. And yeah, that's it for that. Got a couple more of these parts to do in this series of this Halloween special, and really enjoying it. Hopefully you all are as well. And yeah, I'm also going to be releasing. Of course, those of you that listen to the podcast feed will know this already. I'm going to be releasing some book review shows during the week of Halloween as well. So that is the other batch of shows I'll be releasing that week, and covering some comic book events, and then maybe, if there's time, some more Stephen King novels. So, and all sort of, at least the comic book stuff will be focused on the idea of alternate or parallel universes, and in one case, how they might even be, well, actually in both cases, both stories, how they might be created, and what happens when they're created or even possibly destroyed. So anyway, that's all we have for all time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you all next time on Salsidoparanormal. Take care.